So we're now back from Christmas break and we are on to Unit 6. Unit 6 is cell division, which is SC 912L7 16.17. Cell division includes mitosis and meiosis. Words for this time are cell cycle, mitosis, cytokinesis, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, interphase, chromosome, cancer, asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction, binary fission, gamete, diploid, haploid, meiosis, homologous chromosomes, autosomes, sex chromosome, fertilization, and crossing over. So as we know by now, everything starts with cells. Cells are the basic units of life. We've learned about different things being multicellular, unicellular, your fungi, your bacteria, your archaebacteria, your eubacteria, everything that you have, it all revolves around cells. The larger a cell becomes, the more demands the cell places on its DNA. In addition, a larger cell is less efficient in moving nutrients and waste materials across the cell membrane. Same as if you were to consider a fat person and a skinny person. A fat person is going to have a harder time getting stuff through things, or getting themselves through things, compared to a smaller person. Over these next 3 slides, you need to work on filling in the 6 questions and the chart that is available. The questions are there on the screen. I want to go ahead and note that this subject and the ones coming up are my favorite subjects to talk about. They're the easiest to teach, and they're just my favorite throughout college and high school and everything. Cell division is the process by which a cell divides into 2 new daughter cells. So you're taking one cell and all of a sudden it's not creating 2, but it's splitting and creating 2 separate ones. There are 2 types of reproduction. You have asexual reproduction, we have talked about this already, and that is the production of genetically identical offspring from a single parent. It only takes one of them. Sexual reproduction involves the fusion of 2 separate parent cells. The offspring produced by sexual reproduction inherits some of their genetic material from each parent. It takes 2 parents to reproduce sexually. Chromosomes are packages of DNA. Fruit flies have 8 chromosomes per cell, where humans have 46 and carrots have 18. Chromosomes make it possible to separate DNA precisely during cell division. Using the picture below, I want you to go through and label the chromosome correctly. You also need to describe each of the parts that have been given. Like I just said, humans have 46 chromosomes, which is 23 pairs. You get 23 from your mother and 23 from your father. Homologous chromosomes are a pair of chromosomes that are familiar in size, shape, and genetics. Chromosomes 1 through 22 are autosomes, and they are not involved in determining the gender of an individual. Chromosome 23 is the sex chromosome, and it determines whether you will be male or female. There are 2 types of human cells. You have somatic and gamete. Somatic cells, these are every cell except reproductive cells, meaning your egg and sperm. They are diploid cells, which are represented by 2N, and they undergo mitosis. Examples of this type of cell are your skin cells, organ cells, and nervous system cells. Gamete cells, these are the reproductive cells. The female cell is known as the egg, and the male cell is known as the sperm. They are haploid cells, which is represented by N. These cells undergo meiosis. Here's a picture of the different types of cells. You can see number 23 isn't even numbered, it's just the X and Y, because that's what determines your sex, whether you'll be male or female. The cell cycle. This is where it all begins. This is when a cell grows, prepares for division, and divides to form 2 daughter cells. Prokaryotic means that it divides by binary fission. Below is a video that you can go online and watch if you weren't in class to watch it. The eukaryotic division has 4 different phases. It has your G1 phase, your S phase, your G2 phase, and your M phase, which is known as your mitotic phase. Using the picture in your notes, use the picture that's up on the screen to fill in the blanks, noting the different phases that happens during cell division. The first phase in cell division is known as the G1 phase, and this is where the cell grows. Most of the growing happens during this phase. G stands for gap, and it'll be found in G1 and G2 phases. The S phase follows G1, and S stands for synthesis. This is the phase where new DNA is synthesized when the chromosomes are replicated. The cell at the end of the S phase contains twice as much DNA as it did at the beginning. The cell enters the G2 phase when DNA replication is completed. This is the shortest of the three phases of interphase. This is when the organelles and molecules required for cell division are produced. When completed, the cell is ready to enter the M phase and begin the process of cell division. The M phase is known as cell division. This is the main part. This is the mitotic phase, or this is where you actually hit mitosis. It follows interphase and it produces two daughter cells. Cell division occurs in two main stages. You have the first one is mitosis, which is the division of the nucleus, and then you have cytokinesis, which is the division of the cytoplasm. Mitosis has four phases: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. It can last a few minutes or it could last up to a couple days. The first phase in mitosis is known as prophase. This is the longest and may take up to half the total time required to complete mitosis. The genetic material inside the nucleus condenses and the duplicated chromosomes become visible. Outside the nucleus, a spindle starts to form. The centromere is where duplicated strands of the DNA molecule can be seen to be attached. It's at the center, centrocenter. A chromatid is each DNA strand in the duplicated chromosome. As prophase ends, the chromosomes coil more tightly, the nucleolus disappears, and the nuclear envelope breaks down. Make sure to draw this picture. It's just a bunch of X's inside of a circle. The second phase in mitosis is metaphase. Metaphase is the shortest. The centromeres of the duplicated chromosomes line up across the center of the cell. Spindle fibers connect the centromere of each chromosome to two poles of the spindle. Meta means middle. Meta, middle. They line up in the middle. The third phase is known as anaphase. Anaphase begins when sister chromatids suddenly separate and begin to move apart, begin. Each sister chromatid is now considered an individual chromosome. The chromosomes separate and move along spindle fibers to opposite ends of the cell. So when you draw your picture, make sure you draw that all of your X's have now technically become V's. They're separating from each other. Third phase, anaphase. The fourth and final phase of mitosis is telophase. This is when the chromosomes, which were distinct and condensed, begin to spread out into a tangle of chromatin. Note the difference between plant and animal cells. When you have an animal cell, we know animal cells are circles. Well, it's kind of funny because if you look at the picture, it kind of looks like boobs. And it's called cleavage, there where it splits. Compared to plant cells, which are square, and they are actually called, I gotta think real quick. And let me get back to you on that one. Okay, so I went blank for a little while, but the cleavage in plant cells is called a cell plate. That's what I thought it was, but I wanted to double check myself. Cytokinesis usually occurs at the same time as telophase, and this is the end of the division for cell division. This is the division of the cytoplasm. It completes the process of cell division. It splits one cell into two. We're going to be doing this chart in class, and it's just filling in the different phases as to the plant cell and what goes where. So as many of you know, my father is a survivor of cancer, as well as I'm sure many people that you know are survivors or they've had cancer. Cancer is a disorder in which body cells lose the ability to control growth. They do not respond to the signals that regulate the growth of most cells, As a result, the cells divide uncontrollably. A tumor is a mass of cancer cells, but not all tumors are cancerous. Cancers are caused by defects in the genes that regulate cell growth and division. Meiosis is a process in which the number of chromosomes per cell is cut in half through the separation of homologous chromosomes in a diploid cell. There are two types of division. You have meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. Meiosis 1 begins with prophase 1. It's when each replicated chromosome pairs with its corresponding homologous chromosome. This is where crossing over occurs. Crossing over is a huge word. Make sure you put a star next to it that it falls under prophase 1. Metaphase 1 is paired homologous chromosomes line up across the center of the cell. Remember, meta means middle. Anaphase 1 is when spindle fibers pull each homologous chromosome pair towards opposite ends of the cell. Telophase 1 is a nuclear membrane forms around each cluster of chromosomes. And then you have cytokinesis, which forms two new cells. Meiosis 1 is the result of two new cells. Meiosis 2 involves prophase 2, which their chromosomes, each consisting of two chromatids, become visible. Metaphase 2, they line up at the middle. Anaphase 2, the paired chromosomes separate. Telophase 2 and cytokinesis 2 form 4 haploid daughter cells. 4 at the end of meiosis 2. The differences between the two. Mitosis results in daughter nuclei that are genetically identical to the parent cell. They are identical to the parent cell. It results in two daughter cells. Meiosis results in daughter nuclei that are not genetically identical to the parent cell, and it results in 4 daughter cells.